Welcome back, time to newcomers alike. To apologize to Say's attorney, this is the Case 3 finale. It's time to finish this. Can you prove the crime took place during the second set? Yeah, I think.
You better know, Paulo. Otherwise we're through.
It can be proven.
You make it sound like someone else is going to come along and do it for you.
Let's continue with the cross-examination then, shall we? Witness, your testimony if you would. This isn't going to be easy. I need some decisive proof, and fast.
You ready, kid? 'Cause I am.
Shooting took place during the second set. If you're so sure, let's see your proof. How about... There's one of two items I remember I can present here. It's either the video or the mixing board. Let's try the mixing board. Objection! Mixing board, okay. It seems there was a clear proof left behind. Right here in Lamiroir's song.
A song?
What exactly is this device thingy? A new variety of gramophone, perhaps? Come on, we just used this, and don't get me started on gramophone. This device was used to record the performance part by part. Part?
You move the sliders to adjust the volume. Each instrument is adjustable separately, Lamiroir's voice included.
Ho-ho! But what does this prove?
Ah, you intend to examine the recording at that moment, yeah? We might even hear those gunshots.
Exactly.
Huh, ridiculous. How are you supposed to hear the gunshots back in that dressing room out on stage?
Have you forgotten, Daryan? We were all wearing these headsets.
Oh.
We were all deeply involved in our performance. More than your fact-checked hair, but Lamiroir's headset would have picked up what she heard all the same.
Then let's get to analyzing the recording. Right now. Lamiroir stopped singing when she heard the shots fired. Find that spot and I'll find the gunshots. Alright. Alright, so let's get rid of all of these here. Okay, so it's not in the 2. Let's try the 1. There it is. Found it. Present. Boom, motherfreaker. Your Honor, listen closely to this part. This is a track with Lamiroir's vocals.
When you stole away the keys, my heart held on to so tight. Pleasure.
I did hear something faintly there, yes. Why, it sounded like a gunshot.
What? This has to be some mistake.
I believe a case has been made. Gunshots were heard during the second set, which means Lamiroir's testimony was true.
Grah!
Order. So, she was telling the truth about what she heard?
It was the other man speaking, not Mr. LeTouse.
Well, what did he say?
It's over. Press the switch. Now!
Just after that, there was a gunshot, and then the guitar caught on fire.
Detective Crescend, you weren't on stage during the second set.
Detective Crescend, you have some splaining to do.
Don't mock me. You could have done it.
But why did we only hear one gunshot on the recording? Weren't 2 bullets fired from this weapon? Lamiroir was moving through the air vent, Your Honor. She must not have been close enough for her mic to catch the first shot. But then, as she passed over the dressing room, the gun fired again, and Mr. LeTouse's life was taken. Well, Detective Crescend?
Once again I am reminded of something. Our performance that day.
Your performance?
Seeing the mixing board jogged my memory. You were there too, Air Forehead.
What is it with today? Problem after problem, Achtung. My hug won't start, my guitar case is busted, my guitar's been burnt to a crisp, and to top it all off, someone's dead. And then there was that performance just now. What was that all about?
This part is off.
Which is that? Second guitar.
Ah!
It was you, Daryan.
I thought it strange at the time. How could you miss such a simple cue? I know you. I know how you play. You're better than that.
Yeah, well,
You what? And Prosecutor Gavin, what are you getting at?
I'm talking about the murder weapon, Mr. LeTouse's 45 caliber hand cannon. As we have learned, even the shooter doesn't go unscarred with a revolver that size. The kickback is enough to dislocate your shoulder, if you're an amateur.
Wait. You mean his playing was affected because he hurt himself shooting that revolver?
Ha! You're forgetting something.
Yes, Detective Crescend?
I'm a trained police officer, you know. I've had firearms training. Plenty of it. I'm no amateur.
The standard sidearm issued to police officers is a 38 caliber weapon. A much tamer beast. Also, the murder weapon belonged to the victim, Mr. LeTouse, which suggests there was a struggle between killer and victim.
So, the killer might not have been holding this revolver correctly when he fired. Is that what you mean?
The thought had occurred to me, yes.
Well, does the witness have anything to say to this? Detective Crescend!
What I want to ask is what Mr. Sleeves Rolled Up Ready for Action has to say. Hey, you, attorney.
Me?
Exactly which piece of your evidence is decisive again? You got a little noise on a tape that could be anything. And you have an alleged guitar cue missed due to a 45 caliber kickback. I weep for this case, Gavin, I really do. You can line up your little weak pieces of evidence all you want. I didn't shoot that manager. And that's the obvious truth.
The witness has a point. The defense's arguments, while persuasive, are not decisive. I believe we should hear what the witness has to say in response to the case so far. Your testimony, please, Detective Crescend. Tell us your reasons why you couldn't have done it. Proof of innocence.
Come on, why would I even want to kill that manager? You want a reason? Easy. I got no motive, man. This was the diva's first trip to the country, right? How could I possibly know her manager? If I didn't know him, why would I want to kill him?
A simple reason indeed. Prosecutor Gavin, it is the case that Mr. LeTouse had not been to our country before?
According to our records, yes. Not even once.
I see. Very well. Mr. Justice, you may begin the cross-examination. Great. Now I need to find a motive. I think I got one in mind. Proof of innocence. Alright, why would you even want to kill that manager? Because of this. Okay, we can't present that yet. Let's press. Her manager, sure, but Mr. LeTouse was...
Oh, right. Sorry. An Interpol agent, wasn't he? I'll just have trouble picturing that big lunk as an undercover cop, you dig? And not a very good one, seeing as how he got wasted.
That's cold, dog.
Not that it matters either way. See, I had no reason to kill the man, whatever he was.
You got no motive? Yeah, you do. Find it hard to believe you don't have a motive. How do we present that, though? But that's the same for Machi. No motive was proven for him.
Come on, he traveled around the world with that old fart. He had plenty of time to come up with a motive of his own. More than I sure did. I mean, think about it.
Daryan, you're a detective with international affairs.
Yeah, what of it?
Even if this was Mr. LeTouse's first trip to this country, you still could have met him prior to the concert. Or don't you take any international trips in international affairs? That's right. Well, Detective Crescend?
That's your game, is it? Guess I'd better confess then.
Confess?
Yeah, it's a bit of an embarrassment, but I've never been sent overseas.
What? But you're in international...
See, me and the plane's got a difference in opinion. We don't like each other very much.
My condolences, Forehead. But he's telling the truth. He's never set foot outside the country, I can guarantee it.
As it turns out, my division has plenty of work to do locally as well.
That's so unfair. How could I possibly know her manager? Well, probably because he's Interpol, so let's see if we can present this picture. No? God, what is it? So you didn't fraternize with him at all during the concert?
Fraternize? Ha! I don't think we exchanged a single word. As if anyone would want to talk to that old Eastern blockhead. Now the ladies, that's a different matter altogether. So, you see, chicks dig the hair.
If I didn't know him, why would I want to kill him? Well, I mean, I know, like, how this case ends, and I know something has to do with the cocoon here. Oh, okay, there we go. Your Honor, take a look at this. What's that? It looks like candy. The beard loves this. Anyways, it's not. Don't lick it, please. Sorry, the beard is hungry. Detective Crescend, ever seen this?
Looks like a piece of candy.
That's what I said, you copycat.
Shut up.
What it is evidence. Don't lick it before you try it. Specifically, this is a replica of a cocoon. It was found among the victim's belongings. A cocoon? Never seen one that color.
It is a variety only found in the Republic of Boginia. Nowhere else.
Alright, but what is this cocoon replica doing in my courtroom? Surely this has nothing to do with a motive for killing Mr. LeTouse, does it? It does. Wait. I mean, I think it does.
You don't sound so confident, man.
The cocoon. Is it one of those silky cocoons? The kind that you can make, well, silk out of? Not this one. This cocoon makes a powerful curative. A curative? For what?
Apparently, it is most efficacious at treating a disease thought incurable. It is the only medicine of its kind. However, it is illegal to take one of these healing cocoons out of Boginia.
Whatever for? If it's such a miracle cure, why not share it with the world?
Yeah, that's what I've been wondering.
We looked into the matter at some length. Apparently, it isn't difficult at all to manufacture the remedy from the cocoon. Yet if you change the process only slightly, you can easily make a large quantity of something else entirely. A deadly poison, in fact.
What?
There was an incident several years ago where some of these got out onto the black market. It caused quite the commotion in the global community, though the media was kept largely unaware.
Intriguing.
All this has led to a strict ban on the cocoon's export, one rigidly enforced by Interpol, among others.
Interpol. Right. The victim, Romein LeTouse, was an Interpol agent. Detective Crescend, you insist on referring to him as a manager, but that is misleading. Romein LeTouse wasn't killed as a manager. He was killed as an undercover agent.
So I was trying to smuggle that gumball into this country? That's what you're trying to say?
I'm saying that could well be a motive for murder.
Oh, so I was going to sell it on the black market, make myself a pretty penny? Ridiculous! I mean, totally unthinkable.
Unthinkable, you say? Why? Perhaps it's time for another testimony about this smuggling of cocoons business. Cocoon smuggling.
International Affairs got a memo about these cocoons. Interpol's all hot and bothered about them. Can't sell them on the black market. Too dangerous. Yeah, cocoon smuggling ain't exactly lucrative anymore. Man, I'm in International Affairs. I know the deal.
Indeed. Interpol wanted these cocoons bad enough to send Mr. LeTouse undercover.
You kids think up the craziest things. But no way am I going to risk life and limb. Just to get my hands on some dirty cocoon money.
Note the most notable of statements, but duly noted.
According to reports, these cocoons top Interpol's list. Selling them to an underground organization would be risky.
Very well. You may begin the cross-examination. This is the only motive I've got. He was up to something, and I'm going to find out what. Cocoon smuggling. Alright, let's see what we got here. International Affairs got a memo about these cocoons. Interpol's all hot and bothered about them. Can't sell them on the black market, too dangerous. Yeah, cocoon smuggling ain't exactly lucrative anymore. I wonder if it's too early to present this evidence. Yes, it is. Okay, man, I'm in International Affairs. I know the deal. Okay, let's press some stuff. But wouldn't scarcity drive up prices?
Yeah, and attention. Every gangster and his brother would want a piece of that action. They'd turn your forehead into Swiss cheese before you could say objection.
Maybe we could get them to cut his hair, too.
Who's on trial here again?
Whose hair needs to be cut, Daryan? Excuse me?
Man, you so obviously know nothing about the market.
And that's a bad thing?
Don't even try to mess with me about this stuff.
I'm in International Affairs. I know the deal. Cocoon smuggling, selling the black market, too dangerous. What about it? So, there are other Interpol agents like Mr. LeTouse?
All over the world, likely. Deep undercover, most of them. That's why these cocoons are too hot on the black market. You don't want Interpol sniffing through your wares. Most come to the conclusion that...
Can't sell them on the black market, too dangerous. Dangerous?
Yeah, Interpol finds you, they arrest you on the spot. Or another marketeer might think you're part of a sting and take you out himself. Times have changed.
God dang it, what do we do here? Press. Just press everything. That memo! That's how you knew about the cocoons.
Oh, nice one, nice one. I'm running scared now.
You had to know about the cocoons to plan this. Just how well known are these cocoons? I'm embarrassed to admit it, but I'd never heard of them. Well, Lamiroir knew about them, though not their use.
My reports indicate that there are ongoing efforts to control the information about the cocoons. Most people only know they're illegal to export, that's all.
Then, I've nothing to be embarrassed about after all. Ah, the beard is happy.
You could say people like me who know about them are a minority, yeah. But that includes everyone in International Affairs, man. And everyone in Interpol, too, for that matter. Yeah.
Okay, so we press that, What about this? The least weird of the statements, which is why you'd know how to find a loophole in the system.
Hey! You can say what you want about me, but back off of International Affairs! There ain't no loopholes, okay? What do you think we are, Boy Scouts?
That wasn't what I was trying to,
Down, Daryan. It's as you say. There are no loopholes, at least in the case of these cocoons. International Affairs, Interpol, and Bulgarian Customs are all watching.
See, we know what we're doing. Not like some yipping little doggies that lap up every word the diva says.
Why, I oughta...
Oughta what? You want some of this?
Chill, both of you. Let's do this cool, yeah?
Ah, screw cool. I want this guy's head on a stick. And his phallic hair,
Do
too.
not diss my hair, you little
The
shit.
replica has to be the key to his motive. There's gotta be a way to find out what he was up to. Alright. Got a memo about cocoon smuggling is exactly lucrative. Okay, what if we try to present some stuff at this? Because, I mean, I know this guitar is something in this testimony. I just don't know what one to press here. We pressed everything. Oh, what about this? There we go. Why not choose a less dangerous buyer then? I would.
How clueless are you? Everyone in the market's dangerous. The second they found out I was a cop, I could kiss my Kisa goodbye.
Why sell to a black market buyer? How about someone like this? That article! That's about the Chief Justice's... A deadly poison can be extracted from the cocoon, but so can a cure. And not a cure for just any disease. A cure for incuritis. Incuritis? I've heard of that somewhere. Oh my god, really, Judge? You went to visit a victim of the disease this morning. The beard forgets things. Aha! Why, that's the disease the Chief Justice's son has. You aren't saying... Our witness is a detective. He would have contact with the Chief Justice. You were saying the Chief Justice would never deal in contraband. Not even to save his own son's life. But even if the deal went through, why it'd be an international scandal? That Detective Crescend's insurance. If word ever got out, the one on his would be the Chief Justice. I apologize for that line, it went too quick. Detective Crescend, is this true?
First I'm a murderer, now I'm a smuggler. How many crimes are you trying to pin on me anyway?
Distasteful as it is to think about, if the Chief Justice were the buyer, why a seller couldn't hope for a better deal. A very cowardly seller.
Don't let sleeves over there trick you. So I made a deal with the Chief Justice. Where's your proof?
Well...
Oh yeah, you're forgetting one other important thing.
Do tell.
Interpol isn't the only ones out there watching this. Bulgarian Customs barely sleeps. They're so worried about cocoons getting out.
So we were informed. Let's continue with the cross-examination. Bulgarian Customs is very thorough. Everything and everyone gets checked. Except... Is it now when we present the guitar? Yes! Actually, there is one way.
What?
One way to get something out of the country, no checks. What is it? You become a prosecutor. Prosecutor?
I don't believe it.
Believe it, Prosecutor Gavin. What was it that you told me yesterday at your office?
It was a beautiful instrument. It was played lovingly for many years. A guitar befitting a woman like Lamiroir.
How did it end up here?
I mentioned how much I enjoyed playing it that night, and she made a present of it.
So this guitar is from Burguinia?
That it is. We couldn't carry it on the plane. Changes in air pressure and humidity ruins the vote. So we vacuum packed it in Lamiroir's studio. I used a special shipping service available to me for transporting evidence. They brought it right up to my office for me. Pristine and untouched.
Did I get that right, Prosecutor Gavin? Untouched?
Quite. The guitar was wrapped in several sheets and vacuum packed in Bulgaria. The pack was untouched until the day of the concert. Are you saying that guitar was...
With cocoons this small, it would have been very easy to use your guitar as a mule to smuggle a cocoon out of Bulgaria. What? Which reminds me, Prosecutor Gavin, that guitar had some work done on it recently, right? Work?
Good memory, Airforehead. Well, you know how guitars have a round hole in the front. It is called the sound hole. Well, they found something attached to the wood just inside the hole. A broken device of some sort.
A broken device?
Yes, this in fact.
An igniter? Exactly. Consider this, if you will. What if that igniter wasn't the only thing that was attached inside your guitar?
You mean...
He means this, of course.
Ah! There was a way to get a cocoon out of the country. They could use picky prosecutor Gavin's privileged guitar as a mule. And who better to do that than someone with access? Like a member of the band. Order! So the igniter
Was placed in there for a clear reason, it seems.
It was a safety precaution. A precaution?
Ah, Air Forehead. At last, it all comes together.
Every strange thing that happened that day. Care to review? Maestro, the gentle sounds of Lamiroir's ballad, if you please.
First, my keys were stolen, a harmless misdemeanor, which forced me to break the lock on my guitar case.
The key was stolen to retrieve the cocoon from the guitar. I see. But things didn't go so well. The smuggler wasn't counting on the guitar being wrapped. Only a member of the band could get near that case. Unwrapping the guitar would raise too many suspicions. Then the concert began. Right about this time, a very large problem presented itself to the smuggler. What's that? Mr. LeTouse. Ah!
Mr. LeTouse, an undercover agent, was onto something. He would have known about the guitar. He'd only have to check the shipping records. So, Mr. LeTouse tried to examine the guitar himself.
If the cocoon were confiscated then, the gig would be up. The only thing left for the smuggler to do was to get rid of the whole lot.
It's over. Press the switch, now!
The guitar burst into flames, and the cocoon was lost. And then, Mr. LeTouse died.
With Lamiroir there to witness it.
There's your case.
Brilliant, man, brilliant!
Detective Crescend.
I gotta know. You make that all up on the fly?
For a made-up story, it makes a great deal of sense, Daryan.
Feh! The Republic of Bulgaria? Sorry, man, but I haven't even been there.
True, you haven't.
Ha! Let's see if you can make up a story for that, kid. How'd I hide the cocoon in the first place, huh?
It's not so hard to imagine. You had help, a Borginian accomplice. That's all. That you had an accomplice was clear from the start. The voice Lamiroir heard proves it.
It's over. Press the switch, now!
You made this transmission from backstage.
While your co-conspirator was on stage.
But who was it? This is it. The coup de grace. And for once I know what I'm doing. There's only one person who could have helped him. Let's hear what Mr. Justice has to say then. But be warned. With a great accusation comes great responsibility. Yes, the beard is quoting Spider-Man. Get over it. Make up your answer on the fly, as it were, and you'll be harshly penalized. Are you ready, Mr. Justice? Who was the smuggler's accomplice? Ba-ba-da-ba. Ba-ba-da-ba. Machi Tobaye. There is only one person who meets all the requirements of the accomplice, and that person is the defendant, Machi Tobaye. But, Mr. Justice, he's your client.
A defense attorney accusing his client? That's a new one.
I assure you, no one is more unhappy about this than I. But I am here to defend him in the murder of Mr. LeTouse, and I stand by my statement earlier that he is innocent of that particular crime. Indeed, the defendant is Borginian. He does meet the basic requirements to be the accomplice. But what if it was, in fact, Lamiroir? It couldn't have been. Well, you seem sure of yourself. The reason is electronic signals, Your Honor. Electronic signals? Recall that this remote only works to a range of 30 feet. Beyond that, it's useless. Yes, that's true. Now, think back to the testimony. When the shooter made his transmission, Lamiroir was in the air vent, right above the dressing room where the shooter stood. Let's look at the stage diagram. This is the area that the remote could reach from the air vent. Well, looking at this, it seems that Lamiroir still could have done the deed. No. When the shooter made that transmission, the stage was slightly different than shown here. It was in the middle of the guitar Serenade. Part of the stage was raised. Prosecutor Gavin and the Lamiroir stand-in were in the air. They were on a tower which happens to be 15 feet tall. In other words, the remote couldn't have worked from Lamiroir's position in the air vent. Well, Detective Crescend, what do you say to that?
Your Honor,
Yes, Detective?
could we see that video where Gavin's guitar burns? Just one more time.
Well, I don't see why not. What? Don't tell me he has a way out of this.
Yes, I have a way out of this.
Pleasure, but a fleeting melody. It wraps itself around me, and now through the air I fly.
Too bad, so sad, punk.
Punk?
First you were sleeves, then kid, and now punk. You're losing rank fast, Apollo.
What exactly were we supposed to see in this video?
The problem isn't what we see, correct, Daryan?
Right, it's what you hear. We are musicians, after all.
Care to explain for us non-musicians?
Sure thing, punk. Let me give you a yard straight first. You're saying I ordered the wee pianist to set off the igniter? That right?
Yes.
Well, in order to do that, he'd have to press a switch. Am I right?
Okay.
Well, take another listen. Pay attention to the piano.
Piano? What seems to be the problem there? The piano sounded just fine.
And that's the problem, man. You still don't get it?
Yeah,
how's he supposed to hit that switch if he's playing? You've got Miss Diva, the guitar, the bass, the piano, and the drums. The only one with her hands free was the Diva.
Lamiroir.
But according to you, she couldn't have been the accomplice, could she? Your accomplice would have had a hard time helping out. If they couldn't even press the switch. Don't make that face again.
Piano plays non-stop. He couldn't have pressed that switch. Well, Mr. Justice, the piano does seem to be playing when the guitar catches fire. Well,
It's okay. We all make mistakes sometimes.
Apollo, were you wrong?
I can't be wrong. Everything makes perfect sense. How could it all just...
Strange.
What's strange?
No, it's just... something's odd about the performance there.
Odd? Mr. Justice, if Machi Tobaye didn't press that switch, then he could not be the accomplice you claim he is. But everything points to it. Every fact says he's the accomplice.
You got the facts wrong, man. Here's some facts for you. Gavin's guitar's on fire, but the pianist didn't press the switch. In other words, your story is full of holes.
Mr. Justice, let's hear your final opinion on this matter now. Was the defendant Machi Tobaye the accomplice? Your answer will reflect on everything you've said here. Give it some thought.
Apollo, if Machi's not the accomplice, then our whole case is ruined.
I know that. It has to be him. He was the only one who could have helped the smuggler. He had to have pressed that switch.
Well, you'd better find a way to prove it.
Ah! What do I do? What do I do?
Ah! There has to be something that doesn't fit. Something odd.
Something odd? Wait a second.
What? You thought of something?
What was Gavin saying just now?
Strange.
What's strange?
No, it's just... something's odd about the performance there.
It's not much to go on, but it's all I've got. What exactly did he hear that was odd? Have you come up with something, Mr. Justice? May I remind you that everything rests on this? Can you prove that Machi Tobaye pressed that switch? Let's hear your final answer. Can you prove that Machi Tobaye pressed that switch? Yes. Yes, we can. I don't know if you call this proof per se, but I can prove it was possible.
Then, as prosecutor, it falls to me to ask you to show us evidence supporting this. Air forehead. You're sure about this?
Ha! Accept it. There's no evidence, man.
Let's see your evidence, Mr. Justice. On what do you base your claim that the defendant pressed that switch? On the mixing board. The basis for my claim is music, Your Honor. Music? What about music? Let's listen to the piano part around the time when the switch was to be pressed. Right before the guitar burst into flame. I hear a piano being played. But, doesn't it sound kind of simple? Simple?
Ah, I think I know what he's suggesting. You think Machi could have played that part? This one hand?
One hand? He only needed one hand to press that switch. He could play the piano with the other.
Huh. What? So you're some kind of piano savant?
Actually, no.
Then what do you know? You can't play a part like that with one hand.
Maybe. I don't know what I'm talking about here. Wait, I know. Hey, Trucy.
Yeah? You got something?
Mr. Wright, your father, he's a pianist. Could he...
Oh, Daddy? He couldn't play a part like that even if he had 3 hands.
So sorry. So sad for you.
No, not really.
Huh?
That was just the easy way to prove it. There's always the hard way.
Man, how are you going to prove whether he played with one hand or 2? You can't!
I admit it will be rather difficult to prove, but it's highly likely he was playing with one hand.
How do you know that?
The clue is what Prosecutor Gavin described as sounding odd. What sounded odd? I'll bet we can tell by listening to a certain part of the song.
No. No way!
Well, it seems we've come to the moment of truth at last. Let's hear what Mr. Justice has to say for himself. Show us the part that proves the defendant was playing with one hand. Right before the guitar burst into flame. Machi was definitely playing one-handed just before the guitar caught fire. And one section of the song proves it. Proof he played one-handed and fapped vigorously with the other. I'm just kidding, that was inappropriate. No, don't present yet. No, how do I get off of that? Back. No, Okay, fine. We presented all three, it must be this one. Prosecutor Gavin, I'm sure you realize by now just what it was that sounded odd to you.
As I'm sure you've realized it yourself, Forehead.
Realized what? I'll demonstrate. Let's listen to the part in question again, shall we? Pay particular attention to the but a fleeting melody phrase.
Man! How many times are we going to listen to the same thing?
You're right. Enough of that.
Eh?
Let's listen to another section, shall we? Another section? The guitar bursts into flame at the end of the second verse. Let's listen to the same spot, in the first verse. Pay attention to the "Oh, that night in your embrace." Ah, I did hear that, actually. That's why I thought it was the other one. Ah, play verse 2 again. Seriously, I was right. I just picked, like, the wrong of the two verses I had to choose from. There, did you hear that? They feel the same, true. But they're clearly very different.
What?
Well put, Your Honor. The phrase in verse 2 is quite simple, but the same phrase in verse 1 has a high and low notes. You'd have to use two hands to play that for sure. Ah!
What's that prove?
I would think you'd know that by now.
This is why I hate dealing with amateurs, man. So the two verses had different arrangements. Happens all the time.
Not this time, Daryan. There's no point in changing an arrangement if you can't hear it clearly. And that wasn't the point. I had him play specifically so that the piano would stay in the background.
Oh.
That was what I noticed. Why should the same phrase sound slightly different, I asked myself.
Now ask yourselves why Machi changed how he played, and there's only one answer. He needed a free hand in order to press the switch. Order! I believe this ties all the facts together. Well, Prosecutor Gavin?
Yes, quite. Though personally, this comes as a terrible disappointment.
What? No comeback? Can't believe it. I finally did it. I shut him up. Very well. Barring an objection from the prosecution, I will now state the court's opinion on this matter.
Good show, Sleeves. No, great show.
It's not over? I don't like it when he looks so happy.
You tell him, Gavin. Tell him what's so disappointing.
Personally, I'm terribly disappointed. In you, Forehead.
Huh? Me?
Yes. Don't get me wrong, your case is solid. The facts all check out. But, even now, you have yet to show us a single piece of decisive evidence.
That's what it always comes down to, doesn't it? Yeah, but the facts. Anyone can see it was him. Unfortunately, anyone does not include the beard or the law. I'm afraid your case doesn't cut it. But 1,000 facts might point towards the same conclusion. But without a decisive evidence, it's not proof. That's the rule under our current legal system. I don't believe it. Does not seem as though the defense has any more evidence to present.
Oh, I think if he did, we've already seen it long ways back.
It is unfortunate. But at present, this court is unable to acknowledge your accusation. What? The truth is staring us all right in the face! Why can't they see it? What's the point of a legal system that protects criminals?
Apollo, remember what Daddy said?
It won't be easy proving he did it. Especially not under the current court system.
So what do I do?
Like I said, good luck. And be aware that it will be impossible to prove his guilt by conventional methods. Every man has an igniter inside him. Find Daryan Crescend's igniter and set it off.
I wonder what he meant by every man's igniter.
I think he just meant a weak spot, no? The kind of thing that's a single spark could turn into a wildfire of emotion. I won't be able to press him further by conventional means. I've got to find a weak spot in this guy. Something fatal.
So, can I get back to work now or what? It may look like I got a lot of time on my hands. But I got no more time to play pretend with this deadweight attorney.
Well, Mr. Justice, we've come this far without decisive evidence. This witness won't be coming back to the stand once we let him go. Every man has an igniter.
Huh?
Didn't you say the better the guitar, the brighter it burns, Prosecutor Gavin?
Ah, yes. Good guitars are kept dry, is why. That provides the best sound.
Even a small spark could cause irreparable damage. Your plan has an igniter in it too, Detective. It was there from the very beginning.
What?
Fighting time, Justice. You blow this one, he'll be out of your hands for good.
Go for it, Apollo!
What? And this igniter's supposed to come and burn me up? That's almost poetic there, Mr. Attorney.
All the better. I'm rather fond of poetry, and I intend to hear this one through, to the very end. Air forehead. You are accusing this man, Daryan Crescend, of 2 crimes. The murder of Mr. LeTouse and the smuggling of a Borginian cocoon. This is your last chance to prove your case.
This trial has already went on for far too long. Mr. Justice, this will be my last warning. The moment this igniter of yours turns out to be a dud is the moment this cross-examination ends and the beard destroys you and everything you own and your family and whatever. Understood. Yes, Your Honor. Then, let's have it. Show us the basis for these accusations against Daryan Crescend. Okay, this is really my last chance. The keys that'll take apart Daryan Crescend's plan is... Oh, what do we do here? I think that's actually a hint to present the keys, which we haven't presented yet, actually. The defense is prepared to show the court evidence.
Ha! Be my guest.
Be all of our guests, Mr. Justice. Show us evidence supporting your accusations against Daryan Crescend. It's gotta be the keys. We haven't even presented them yet. This is your igniter?
So, exactly how am I supposed to react to that?
He's not flustered at all. I picked a dud. Okay, so what if we call the witness? Your igniter isn't a piece of evidence.
Huh? So what is?
It is true that I couldn't show decisive evidence. But perhaps what I needed to prove my case was something else.
You mean a witness?
Proving his guilt is a tall order. But I've got just the person to do it. Very well, Mr. Justice. Who is this person who can prove Daryan Crescend's guilt? Machi, Tobaye. The one person who can prove Daryan Crescend's guilt is the defendant, Machi Tobaye. Your client? Again? Machi Tobaye was an accomplice to the cocoon smuggling plot. Without him, Daryan Crescend could not have gotten the cocoon. Furthermore, he can easily prove that he's the one who plotted to smuggle that cocoon. Is the real criminal in this case. How so? It will require just one of the very cocoons LeTouse was looking for. With the cooperation of the Republic of Borginia, we could burn a cocoon. That burnt cocoon would leave a particular residue. A residue we would no doubt also find inside the burnt-out guitar. Aha! Very scientific of you. Thus, if Machi Tobaye acknowledges his agreement with Daryan Crescend concerning the attempted smuggling of a Borginian cocoon, the case is solved.
Daryan's laughing again.
Your unrelenting passion is remarkable. You really want to get me, don't you? Too bad you'll never be able to.
Why not?
The little key tickler won't acknowledge anything. Especially not anything to do with cocoon smuggling.
What's this all about?
Taking a cocoon out of the country means death. By Borginian law.
Yeah, see? If our pianist really was a smuggler, then testifying about it would be suicide. Believe me, he's not talking—
But you're wrong, Detective Crescend.
What?
It's the other way around. If Machi doesn't admit to smuggling here, he's in deep trouble!
Huh? How?
Look, if Machi admits to smuggling here, then he'll be tried in our courts by our laws. You don't get the death penalty for smuggling in our country. The victim in this case was an undercover Interpol agent. I'm sure that news has already reached Borginia.
They'll likely broadcast our dealings in court today, including the part about the Borginian cocoon.
Yeah, but...
But if Machi doesn't admit to smuggling now, he'll eventually be picked up by the Borginian police. And it's not like he's in any danger in our court. We're not going to find him guilty of murder here, not now!
Yeah, but you can't do this! You can't accuse me!
Maybe the law doesn't allow it. But who's going to think you're really innocent after hearing this trial? The same goes for Machi Tobaye. The cocoon smuggling, your entire plan. Machi Tobaye knows everything. There's only one way out of it for him, and that's to acknowledge his own crime. The crime of cocoon smuggling.
Don't worry there. I'll get you out of the country. I'll set you up someplace. A mansion. Real nice. You want a house made out of cookies? Oh no, a house made out of pianos? Come on. Please! Don't talk!
Daryan,
What an omni-slash.
I consider that my last session with you. We rocked.
I'm guessing we can treat that outburst as a confession.
Uh-oh, he's laughing again.
There's a kind of sick desperation in it now, though. Well, have you been listening to today's trial?
Yes.
And you'll talk? You'll tell the court everything? I didn't want it to turn out this way, but I'm not the kind of lawyer that can overlook a crime.
Today's trial was all for your benefit, you know. I see no reason why you should hesitate now.
I knew. From beginning, I knew.
Machi.
Situation. I cannot explain. But money. I needed. Very much money.
Today's trial raises a delicate issue with our legal system. The only thing definite in the court of law is evidence. This is the golden rule. However,
It has become apparent that not all things can be tried by this standard.
should another case of this sort surface, we may have to consider an alternate system by which to administer justice. Anyway, Mr. Machi Tobaye,
Yes?
I promise you will receive a fair trial by the laws of our country. And with regards to the current charges for murder of Mr. LeTouse, this court is prepared to announce a verdict.
I thank you. I only lie. But you see truth. You find truth.
That's our job. Very well. This court finds the defendant, Machi Tobaye, not guilty! Booyah, motherfreakers. That's case 3. Court is adjourned! July 10th, 442 District Court, Defendant Lobby, number 2.
I wonder what'll happen to Machi.
Well, he did smuggle a cocoon out of Borginia. I guess there will be another trial here. Phoenix!
Daddy!
I owe you both my thanks.
Lamiroir! Lamiroir?
Is something wrong?
I'm sorry, Machi was your partner on stage, your friend.
Yes. I thought of him as my own son. Even now I do. Yet, something got a hold of him. Something evil. And he must pay for what he has done. Is that not how it should be?
I'm still sorry.
Do not be sorry. You have given me courage.
Courage?
I am considering an eye operation.
It was my suggestion, actually.
You mean you'll be able to see again?
It's funny. I have always been afraid of the light. Light seems so harsh, so unforgiving.
According to the doctor, Lamiroir lost her sight due to some kind of accident.
An accident?
As you know, I suffer from amnesia. I feared that, if I could see, perhaps it would open my eyes to the truth I had been running from. I was scared.
You know what changed her mind? Hearing your defense in here today. She could feel your gaze, unwavering, always looking straight at the truth.
If the light returns to my eyes, I think I will take a painting.
Painting?
That's right! She's the landscape painter in sound, after all.
I will paint the two of you. I promise.
Woohoo! I can't wait, Lamiroir!
Thanks, Mr. Wright, but for what?
You reminded me I need to hurry things along. On my secret mission, that is.
Right, your secret mission.
Apollo, Trucy, I hope that we will meet again someday soon.
You bet! Me too.
And so, like a ballad, the trial flowed on until it came to the end. Thanks to the trial, the guitar Serenade was a huge hit. Prosecutor Gavin's even more dazzling to look at now. But there's something I want to say to that guy. Next time you write a ballad,
Have him catch the killer at the end.
Alright. Yes. We are almost done with this game. One more case. One more case. One more case. Thank you all so much for watching Case 3. As per usual, the people that are nominated for Best Voice Actor in this case, there is no Best Voice in this case, by the way, because I am way beyond using audio edits to make people's voices. Either you can do it or you don't. And that's a part of my growing throughout this whole series. So there is only a Best Voice Actor this series. Everybody's nominated. Look in the description. Vote for the best. And now, without further ado, we shall save and then the preview for Turnabout Succession.
And that is the whole truth of this case. In order to understand it myself, I had to know the story of these last 7 long years. Nothing happens by chance. All is connected. And now, you stand ready to begin the final chapter of this story. Will the defendant be found guilty or innocent? The decision is yours.